I covered my mouth, stunned speechless, looking at the two bodies entwined on the other bed. One is my boyfriend and one is my best friend. I felt that my world started crashing down. Please like and subscribe and listen to my story. Hi, I'm Jane, 22 years old, a final year student at a rather prestigious university. My mother, a single mom who raised me very well, despite the treacherous businessman husband, whom I had long forgotten and probably never appeared again. I grew up and lived well until I met Anna and went to her stupid party.
Lady, may I have the honor of offering you a drink? Look how gorgeous you are, especially in this evening gown.
The dress is pretty stupid, and the man is a jerk. Of course, thank you for your compliments. I met Tom here with a bland lemon cocktail. To be honest, I was a bit smitten with his manners. Okay, a lot. Tom wasn't very handsome, at least for my taste, but his manly behavior was far different from other boys his age. Moreover, to be honest, his voice is super good. He also seemed to be impressed with me, obviously, because I was beautiful. This is the truth. I am conscious of my own appearance. Soon after, we started dating, roaming the streets in an old car, enjoying a romantic lunch by the beach, and holding hands as the sunset fell. Age difference, appearance, I rushed towards him like a moth. I'm so in love with you, I told him passionately on the last evening. I want us to be forever.
Of course, babe. We will never leave. I promise.
Summer ended. Tommy was a student and I was only 17 at that time. This doesn't matter. I got into the university in the same city as him. It even seemed so great that I began to dream about the house and the children. When I got the admission letter, he wanted me to move in with him, almost forced.
You should listen to me. You are too young, and I've been through a lot. Jane, don't be so childish. I just want the best for you.
He couldn't stop babbling, threatening, jealous, and even manipulating, making me feel guilty. I know that, Tom, but I can't. I want to be independent. Luckily, I refused, persisting to the end. The reason was that even in the same city, the distance was still too far. Besides, learning from my mother's marriage, I can't confidently rely on men anymore. After all, I was still more obsessed with happiness breaking down than I thought. He gave up, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Anyway, I still love him very much. College life was kind of fun. Maybe because my life went off without a hitch. God decided to send a jinx to beat me up. Gerald is a native German, which could be seen not only in his appearance, but also in his excessively heavy and deep voice. And no matter how handsome he was, I admit, extremely attractive otherwise. With his rough treatment on his first day of school, he was officially negative in my eyes. Excuse me? I replied with a bit of confusion anyway. I have beauty as well as knowledge, which makes men often prioritize me. But no, he not only made me fall to the ground, but also coldly said,
This is not your place.
I really want to go crazy. After that, every time he did a group assignment or gave a presentation, he had a way to make my blood boil. Ironically, when I was second year, he even showed up at the cafe shop where I work part-time. I was so upset that I wanted to quit my job. But then, thinking about the high salary and the lovely hostess, I finally endured. Just like that, I reluctantly endured his colleague for a long time and realized this person was better than I thought. As for Tommy, I felt guilty and wanted to make up for him more for being a bit neglected. I didn't mind the long way to come, even to cook or clean. Tommy was very happy at first and appreciative for me, promising a lot. The beautiful outlook made my heart race, even if all this was just word of mouth. But over time, even these words he was afraid to say, taking it for granted that I was there to serve and that I was his servant.
You have to do this.
He used to say it like it was my duty. Even instead of should, he switched to must. I want it. That's stupid. Forget about it. Tommy started going out more, often being reachable at hours when he should have been at home. I began to worry about losing and asking him what he was doing, thinking about setting up the location, but still. What received, of course, was an extremely vulgar scolding of him. What did you just say? I was momentarily surprised, paused for a minute, and began to doubt myself while silently shutting down the phone. I dreaded the thought of this relationship coming to an end and feeling unloved. This made my heart slowly die. Soon after, he called back and explained that he was under pressure these days and hoped I can sympathize with him. This happened a few times, and how stupid of me to believe it was true, to take care of him even more carefully than before. I began to suffer from stress, constantly thinking that I was not good enough, even calling my close friend Anna for advice. She was very good at this, and I would like to consult her. Anna just smiled faintly, saying I think too much. If you love someone for a long time, you can change your lover if you're bored. I nodded, a little relieved to hang up on the phone. Damned! I should have known. Until that day. That's right. I took a break from the cafe and went to his house, contrary to usual. On the one hand was to surprise, and on the other hand was to relieve the heat in my heart. I have a spare key to his house. How accurate was a woman's sixth sense? My boyfriend and my best friend naked, rolled around in the bed of my own choosing. Anna saw me, and as a matter of course, the conversation turned towards this fool.
She's stupid nerd. How can she ever compare to you? She only knows about study and gets caught up in those useless things. If it were nice to show up about her, I would have dubbed that a long time ago.
That's exactly what came off my 5-year boyfriend talking to the person I considered to be my best friend in life. And from what I could see, he had cheated on me so many times, with countless people. I really was a stupid potato. I staggered back, running out of the apartment. No matter where I was going, I wandered the streets, tears streaming down my face. I picked up the phone and wanted to call my mom, but immediately regretted it. Calling mom to make her worry more or whatever, it was useless. It's just that right now, I needed a place to gnaw the pain. My cell phone vibrated. I opened it and found it wasn't my mother. The reflex wanted to turn off. But why the hell click on receive? The phone rang with a grumpy voice.
Where are you?
Nothing. Leave me alone.
Hey, don't like that. Hey, Jen!
I finally couldn't hold back, bursting while I was on the phone. Gerald was very patient again, listening to me for half an hour. He even been able to find me. Luckily, it was not too dark yet, and I was not dragging stupid things appearing before he arrived. Gerald found me, sighed, wrapped his shirt over my head, covering my puffy face, and led me to his house. Thinking back to that time, I really was crazy. Running to the opponent's house. Yes, I've always considered him a formidable enemy. And staying there all night, crying to the point of confusion. The next morning, when I woke up, Gerald didn't ask anything. Just handed me a glass of water and told me to call my mom back. I resisted, but in the end, I still picked up the phone, holding back my tears, and called my mom. Mom, I miss you so much. I want to go home. Mother noticed something and must have been very worried, but she had always raised me to be independent. She only comforted me with a few words, saying that when you are sad, go home. I said yes, hung up the phone, and cried again. That jerk was probably still asleep and didn't even give me a call. As for Anna, forget about it. She should be out of my life now and forever. I immediately pulled those two brats into the blacklist, deleted all contact methods, and got up to leave. Gerald didn't stop me. He just took his coat and said,
I'll take you home.
I just nodded, strongly refused, and was brought back to the inn by him. Strangely, I never told you about my house.
I asked the manager.
Thank you, Gerald. I have never been so grateful for Gerald's character as I am now. even though I hated it before. He didn't ask anything, just took me home, then left. I sat there alone, tears welling up in my eyes. Lifting his head, he didn't expect him to be standing there ever since.
Eat already. Eat and cry again.
I was actually giggling at his sense of humor, literally wiping my tears and eating the whole bowl of soup. Green pozo, a bit salty but still tasted delicious, was absolutely what was needed for my near-death hungry stomach. It's also my favorite food. I look up suspiciously and receive a nonchalant answer.
I just know it. I haven't seen a time when you didn't order this dish.
So you stalked me? My heart skipped a beat and I wondered, does he like me? I just didn't have time to say anything. He said goodbye and left. The door closed and the boy's shadow disappeared behind the small alley. 2 weeks later, I let my hair down a bit, temporarily put aside work and study, and regained balance for my soul. Gerald showed up every 2 days, didn't say much, just left his stuff and leave. He seemed to be afraid that I would starve to death, bringing a lot of food and drink. And it's always something I like. It's really hard for me not to be overthinking. My boyfriend, or should I call now my ex, finally remembered my existence. It's just all the social media are blocked. He didn't know my current address. It's hilarious. His girlfriend moved out. He didn't help, nor did he open his mouth to ask. I finally came to my senses, starting to get things back on track. I didn't know how to thank Gerald. His tenderness saved my soul. Now that I had to quit my job and my studies were over, I really didn't know how to repay him. Fortunately, Gerald and I seemed to have become close friends. He often visited me, had dinner together, and even went on trips with me, climbing mountains and doing a lot of interesting things. And even though he didn't say it, the look in his face was so gentle that I felt like I was blind before. My calloused heart began to flutter again, but was still filled with fear. Gerald understood it all. The grumpy boy just put his hand in my head and said,
Don't be too hard on yourself. I could wait.
I didn't say a word. It's touching my heart, but not enough. Turns out, my father and my unfaithful boyfriend affected my life more than I thought. A year passed, and Tom appeared in front of me again. He was still the same, looking very polite with his straight suit and charming voice. But perhaps I have already seen through his true nature, so I only find it disgusting and deceitful. He talked a lot, so much that it gave me a headache, enough to make me realize a few things. Anna left him, and he suddenly missed me. I smiled defensively, before his puzzled look directly hit him hard in the face, ending it all. He went like crazy, chasing after me, but only had to stop in anger before Gerald's tall body. I giggled, taking his arm, listening to the question whisper in my ear.
Do I have a chance now?
Of course, but this time I will take the initiative. I laughed. Those 5 years of stupidity weren't actually wasted. Didn't God bring him here? The ending is out of the blue, but I believe it will be very beautiful. Well, I heard Tom and Anna had a fight. She was so addicted to alcohol that she lost control and had to go to rehab. And he was fired for not being transparent with the company's finances. However, this is none of my business anymore.